So go ahead and just start from the beginning.
So we got a call at 2:30 in the morning from one of our friends that's on the department with us. And he said that the fire was coming up the hill behind the dam. And that's when we were confused because we had heard about the fire over, Cameron Lake area.
Right.
So we were confused how, there could be a fire down there. But so we started heading home. By the time we got to like Leahy Junction area, it had already gone that far, and we were going by like Hayes Road, and then that's when it was going over the highway. So here we were cutting through, trying to get down into Bridgeport to meet up with the department.
Right.
And it had already made it that far in just a short amount of time it took us to get home. And that's when like the fire rolled over our pickup. It was fine, and then all of a sudden this quick change in the direction, and you're coming around a corner and it just rolled over our pickup. And then we made it down to Bridgeport and then met up with our department, and then that's when we went back up to a couple other guys on our fire department. It was all their cattle, like their fields, where they keep their cattle. It was headed towards their house. And so on our way here, we started making calls to people who have equipment, and just started saying, you guys get going. This is the area you need to go to. My husband just started calling everybody that he knew that had equipment that could get up there. So we met up with everybody up there, and they took dozers out and the brush trucks, and we all just kind of started having different spots because the wind was going so bad and so fast. To safely get to certain areas, you had to wait in between, like the wind changes. Then you start having the down power lines, and that's always, at that point it was still so fresh, you didn't know if they were still live or not. So it's not like you can just drive anywhere when you see the down power lines, because you don't know if they are. You literally just start going from ranch to ranch. You don't have a lot of cell phone service up in that area, so you literally just start going from farm ranch to the farmhouses or the worker houses, that are attached to the farm, just to make sure, let them know, because the police department, the sheriff's department does a really good job, because they're all locals too, knowing where everybody lives and doing evacuations.
Right.
But, when it's happening so fast and it's spreading that fast, they're trying to get more of their guys up to help and get out there. But resources are so thin, spread, that it's just, everybody just starts helping everybody else out at that point, You go back and you talk to them. Okay, you guys got to these people, does anybody live back at this house? Well, yes or no, or whatever it is. Okay, we'll go through and check that. Different things like that. And then literally you just get in the trucks and you just literally you can't stop it. You can't try to stop it. You can go into these homes and help prep them the best that you can. One of the hardest parts is that whole area. That's where I grew up. I graduated high school from Bridgeport. I know all of these ranches. I know all these farms. Like, I know all these people, and you can go in and help prep as much as you can, and then you leave and you just hope for the best, because there's nothing else you can do. That's the hardest part.
When things like this happen, there is no, in the communities like this, there's no Republican, there's no Democrat,
Yeah,
there's no
it's
conservative or liberal.
We kind of sort it as good or bad, and people are and we're lucky. I mean, we got Haley and her husband. We've got a ginormous network of good people here, and so that's what really makes, and Republic's no different. It makes all that community fun. And
yes, Republic almost burned down a few years ago.
Yeah, man.
That was
Yeah,
devastating
it was.
for a lot of people.
Yeah, this is getting.
How big is it? I mean,
crazy.
we haven't even heard.
Republic
No,
or the
this,
fire.
yeah, all of this.
God. I know
Over
that there's-
300,000 acres.
I know statewide there's about 600,000 acres that have burned statewide. And a lot of them are currently have been set intentionally, like this one. A couple people have been caught so far. Hopefully they investigate the heck out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be even calling for federal assets to investiged this.
I
Who's involved?
I believe there is.
It's something bigger.
There is federal. The FBI is involved. Is what I was told by the municipal officers. And so it's
to have that many fires set all over the state. It's got
simultaneously in the worst possible deal. The spread of resources so thin that
cause the most havoc.
yeah,
most
to create and you know, maybe it's just maybe it is apocalyptic, but I think it's just dark forces at play that are dissatisfied and like spreading hate and discontent, you know. And you know, this it's so funny because I mean, you look out here, I mean, even now it looks like a tender. I mean, it was definitely a tinderbox when the Okanogan deal happened, when the Carlton deal happened, and
which
you know,
it is every
yeah,
fall.
and here's the thing, Loren, and I'm not a fire science major, but to manage rangeland and manage this as an asset, I mean, I know it's beautiful, and we can embrace the comfortable ambiance and the beauty it provides visually, but to manage this as an asset, we need to have prescribed burns. We need to let things get to this point. And every year we see wildland fires getting bigger and worse. And what's happened is we've taken people that historically had grown up and had roots here, knew what that resource looked like and how it should manage, and we've diverted them because the culture in Republic and the culture in downtown Omak and the culture in Brewster is consolidated down to those who have and those who have not. And eventually those who have not develop a genuine lack of care. And they can't help it because they haven't been taught that this is value, and they can be a part of that value. And you know, it was funny when, you know, I graduated in 2000, but my class was probably the last, or those people my age were probably the last people when the Forest Service had real relevance. We went out and we burnt brush, we cleared trails, and we did all these things, and they were hard work. But at the end of it, people felt exalted in the fact that they had embraced in something that created value in themselves and sweat equity. And when we get and we disenfranchise people with what those resources look like, it becomes very scary, because now it's okay to create havoc on, you know, the few thousand people that live here because they're no longer vested. And that's the one thing, if I can give my kids anything in this world, is the fact that they are vested in their community, in their family, in their church, and that the power of good is abundant if we cherish it. But if we don't, then those sparks burn out, and it's just a chasm of hate. And I think that's, if we can, I know I'm talking on a real global scale here, man, but if we can start addressing that incrementally, I think we have a chance to really make this a paradigm shift in society. Because I've never thought in a million years I'd see a Republican governor in Washington State. Yet I still live here. And I think right now there's so many people disenfranchised with hate that if they can see good, that they'd be willing to act on good. So, man, if your campaign can embody that, I will. We'll start a different kind of fire and get it to happen. Okay?
I've been saying that for a long time. You know, if our government gets back to the rule of law and follows the Constitution, then everyone is protected equally. It doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter your education. It doesn't matter your where you work, where you live, what you do for a living. Everybody's protected equally.
Yeah.
It's got to get back to that. We got to quit. You know, the far left always wants to divide everybody by.
Well, it's easier when you take demographics as a whole, and the more divisions you can create, the more you can play to a select audience. It's easier to change heart, right? But if we have common unity, if we say that everything we're doing is to build everybody else around us up,
Right.
then we don't have division. And man, I think personally, in what I feel, I think we're getting to that point. I mean, it's getting too jaded.
Right.
That I think that right now, I think people there's and in this community, and I think everywhere else, there's more good than bad. Because if there wasn't, and I'm not saying that this world is not full of horrific things, but there's always better deeds than those horrific things. The problem is those good deeds don't get ink.
Right.
We sell newspapers when we burn stuff down. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
The good needs
I've
to
heard
be
it before.
amplified.
Yeah,
Because there
and
is a lot of good.
and we need to figure out a way to sell a 50-cent paper on somebody being positive. I know that for a long time the Quad City Herald reported, because guess what? Bad things weren't happening in Okanogan County. And they were reporting on good things, unless it was in the obituary column. And you know, they weathered on the vine as a 50-cent paper because nobody wanted to buy good ideas anymore.
Yeah.
So, hey man, sorry
Sad.
I had to meet you in this little deal.
No, that's okay. It brings back memories of when I was a kid. I was telling your wife that when I was about 10 or 11 years old, our house burnt. It caught on fire, and then firefighters put it out, and we left, went to a friend's house for the night. We came back the next morning, and it was just like this. It's just etched in my memory. I'll never forget it because it's devastating.
Yeah, it's you know, it's sure those things you know, there's 1,000 things I wish Monday I would have done different, and there's thousands of things that but the novel thing is these kids are young enough and impressionable enough that they can know what it's like to come out of a bad situation with people that love them and friends that love them, and we can put and if the only thing we're gonna really that's tangible are those memories, right? We could win 100 belt buckles, we could have all those things, but if we've got those memories of how we transitioned from that to something better, or we accomplished a common goal as a unit.
Yeah. And that's the main thing. Your family is whole.
Yeah, man.
You know, and the home can
Best
be rebuilt.
looking wife. Sorry, Haley.
Absolutely.
Other Haley. Good looking redheaded kids. You know what I mean?
You're blessed, and that's what matters.
Yeah. So
The house can be rebuilt.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when ours burnt. You know, all of our photo albums burnt with it. So we didn't have a lot of, but we were fairly young. You know, and we built new memories. We went in a new house, same place, and everything turned out fine.
Yeah.
But it is traumatic, especially for the kids. I mean, it's hard on the parents, obviously. That was the only time that I ever saw my dad cry, was when he was coming out of that building trying to pack things out that really didn't matter, but you know, in the panic of a house fire, trying to salvage things. But I'm honored to meet you.
Yeah, Loren, man.
And I'm glad that it worked out that I could stop through here on the way to the west side and meet you.
Hopefully next time I see you, I can call you governor-elect. So keep up the good fight, man.
All right.
We'll champion the heck out of you everywhere.
You got a beautiful family.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Hang in there.